Some people are never happy. Rey in The Rise of Skywalker and the Disney trilogy is pretty much the ultimate fighter. She does it all. But there are feminists saying that Rey is getting mistreated because she doesn't have as many words of dialogue as the men. And for that matter, women in the sequel trilogy don't have as many words of dialogue as the men, so the men are getting the better treatment, and it's still sexist. Gosh darn it, these people are really off the wall. Let's take a look at this rather nice website but crazy article. Okay, here, see it. And it's actually the Los Angeles Times. I didn't realize that. I thought it was like some kind of obscure website, but alright, this one is from the LA Times, guys. There are more women than ever in Star Wars. Men still do most of the talking. Wouldn't you know it? For a resourceful scavenger who grew up fending for herself on a desert planet, Rey is a quick thinking mechanic, an ace pilot, and a formidable warrior, among many, many, many other things. Portrayed by actress Daisy Ridley, Rey is the central Force-sensitive protagonist of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, Disney trilogy, whose introduction in 2015's Force Awakens sparked hope that the franchise was finally moving to reflect the diversity of the real world, which is exactly what we don't want. We don't want it reflecting the real world. That's one of the problems here. The problem isn't that people hate women. The problem is when you put forced diversity and feminism in movies, it really makes it feel like we're not in a galaxy far, far away anymore, and that's the main problem. Her adventure continues in Rise of Skywalker, the ninth and final installment of what has come to be known as the Skywalker Saga. In advance of the film's Friday release, we've taken a look at how Rey's story so far compares to that of the heroes of the original Star Wars trilogy, as well as the prequel films, and it compares very bad because Rey doesn't actually have a good story arc and she has a terrible start. I'll admit it's better in The Rise of Skywalker. I like that we found out her bloodline, but there's just nothing to it. She feels very hollow, and I personally don't get any emotion out of Rey, whereas with Anakin and Luke, I got emotion, especially Luke, but by the end with Anakin, I got a lot of emotion with him too. It's no secret that Star Wars has not had the best track record when it comes to its female characters. Besides the original trilogy's standout Leia Organa, whose bravery and proficiency with the blaster set her apart from most other movie princesses, many of the franchise's most memorable women have come from animated Star Wars series such as the Clone Wars and Rebels. The prequel series, Padme Amidala starts off as a principled politician figure committed to fighting for her people, holding her own in both diplomacy and physical skirmishes, but in the end she dies of a broken heart, losing the will to live after learning that the love of her life, Anakin Skywalker, had become evil. Her legacy is reduced to merely being the catalyst for most iconic Star Wars villains turn to the dark side. Right here you can see they're counting words per movie. This is just the insanity that it comes to. Leia, Padme, and Rey actually has the most, so aren't they talking about improvement? And by the way, it's not the quantity of what you say, it's the quality of what you say. That right there should just, knock down their whole argument. I mean, what if Rey had like 2,000 words, but we're all like gibberish and talking about her laces and her shoe color and things like this, but Padme had like 500, but they were like serious, great lines of wisdom about political things, about how to fix problems, about how to actually move forward with the action. It's really quality over quantity with dialogue, so it's just like throwing out some number of words is rather ridiculous. Los Angeles Times. So they go down here to complain a little bit more about how Rey is never a politician or a diplomat, because that's what we need. Not only is she like a master at the Force and everything else, we need her to be a politician and a diplomat to top it all off and let Rey do every single thing every other Star Wars character has done in the past, and she'd just be the ultimate Star Wars god, basically. Lord, where are they getting these people from? So right here, and yeah, kind of cool artwork, by the way. I'll give you guys that. Luke's got 1360 and Anakin's got 1443, so I guess Anakin's better than Luke. And Rey has 958. Boo-hoo. I mean, a lot of Luke's dialogue was going through Tatooine whining about things, about how he doesn't want to stay another season, about how is he going to progress, how is he going to get off this rock, things like that. it all depends on what's being said, basically. So, will I get into that? I don't think so. For Rey to match the raw number of words spoken by Luke and Anakin in their main films, she would have to say more in The Rise of Skywalker than in both her previous films combined. Here we go. How many words does Rey still need to catch up with Luke and Anakin? So this article is from December 19th, 2019, so I'm not exactly sure if they're actually counting The Rise of Skywalker yet, but if they did, I mean, probably Rey would maybe even pass Anakin and Luke, but, the fact that someone's going through this and doing this is just kind of silly. It's just silly. They do go on to say that they eliminated droids and things like Wookiees, so good job, guys. You're so fair. I don't know. Think about this. They're not going to mention how the men got treated in The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens especially. Basically, the men do next to nothing, except be evil, of course. Next to nothing as far as actual heroism and being someone you could look up to. And the worst part about it is, the men who are in the original trilogy, like Han and Luke, are pushed down for the women to be pushed up. So they don't get into context, they get into word count. And I do not think they mentioned, like I said, quality of words, just quantity. What does that mean? I could sit here and make a video and say 5,000 words of complete fluff, and a girl could come along and say like 100 words of wisdom, and she's better. So, anyway, I really wanted to point out this ridiculous article. You guys let me know what you think about this below, and I'm looking forward to these comments. Sometimes I know what the comments are going to be if it's like kind of a predictable thing, but here, I don't know. You guys tell me. Doing shoutouts, special thanks. I got you guys covered. See you next time.